never told anyway. But yeah, I thought I would just find what do we think of this? What do we think of this story? What do we think of this joke? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, right. I mean, are we? But we're surprised by it. You didn't get ahead of it. No, nobody thought that's where it was going. It's just such. Yeah, I know there's something really really real and really thoughtful about it, but also I just don't know, like can we see this twist at the end? Well, and also I feel like on a day like this, I feel like we need like just a good shake in our abdomen just to like get us warmed up from coming here in the sleet, because when I wrote today's sermon, it was autumn. Actually, when I wrote today's sermon, it kind of felt like summer. And now when I deliver the sermon today, I'm going to be delivering it in winter. So it's a real, anyway, so the sermon it's going to be like kind of a happy, like joyful sermon about planting and harvesting, but that is not what the world looks like this morning. All right, we'll see. But when I give the sermon, just please pretend that it's like nice out there. Welcome to this place which we make holy by our presence. These doors are open to all. We welcome diverse ideas at the source of life, diverse needs, diverse abilities. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, where the human is celebrated, and where compassion is strength. Welcome to this place. Together, we make it a holy place. Please join me for the words of the chalice lighting printed inside of our leaflet. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to bless and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. And now please stand if you are able for hymn 361 and to rejoice and come in.
And to rejoice and come in, and to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. Open your ears to the song, open your ears to a song. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. And to rejoice and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. And to rejoice and come in, and to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in.
Our responsive reading today will be number 634. in the back of the hymnal, number 634. I'll read the sections in standard type. Please join me for the sections in italics. Now is the time for turning. Leaves are beginning to turn green. The birds are beginning to turn and are heading once more toward the south. The animals are beginning to turn, storing their food for the winter. For leaves, birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively. But for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong. And this is never easy. It means losing face. It means starting all over again. And this is always painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are hard to do. But unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. God, help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith. Turn us around, O God, and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning, and turn us toward each other. For isolation, there is no life. This is the time for honoring joys and sorrows. I encourage you to take a moment and think about if there is something special in your life that you would like to share. Something happy or something sad. Then come up and light a candle.
Betsy and I would like to tell you what happened to us this week. It's probably more of a sorrow than a joy, but it's progress, I guess. We did manage to go to the Cleveland Clinic to have a full assessment of Betsy's knees. They've got a very extensive program there that has experts in every possible field and technique that are around for working on all kinds of knees. And it was good to get that assessment, but the problem was the assessment was very discouraging. They just have claimed that they can't do a thing and there's nobody that can do a thing for us. So we're kind of disappointed in that, but we'll work out something else. We got a few ideas. We're not dead yet.
Once upon a time, an old Mohawk legend goes, there were three sisters who lived together in a field. These sisters were quite different from one another in their size and also in their way of dressing. One of the three was a little sister, so young that she could only crawl at first, and she was dressed in green. The second of the three wore a dress of bright yellow, and she had a way of running off by herself when the sun shone and the soft wind blew in her face. The third was the eldest sister, standing always very straight and tall above the other sisters and trying to guard them. She wore a pale green shawl, and she had long yellow hair that tossed around her head in the breeze. The sisters in the field noticed a young hunter who knew the way of talking to birds and the small brothers of the earth, the shrew, the chipmunk, and the young foxes. And so the three of them relocated to a field near where he lived, bringing special gifts that would provide for his people. The sisters in the story are the spirits of corn, squash, and beans, the staple crops of an Haudenosaunee garden. In this story, their birth order is determined by the ripening of the crops. The bean sister is the youngest, and she's crawling around because beans are harvested first, followed by squash. And the corn is the eldest because it takes the longest to fully mature. Modern Native American Robin Kimmerer sees a different birth order, likening the sisters to her own three daughters. She says the firstborn girl knows that she is clearly in charge, tall and direct, upright and efficient. She creates the template for everyone else to follow. That's the corn sister. There's not room for more than one corn woman in the same house, so the middle sister is likely to adapt in different ways. This bean girl learns to be flexible, adaptable, to find a way around the dominant structure to get the light that she needs. And the sweet baby sister is free to choose a different path as expectations have already been fulfilled. Well grounded, she has nothing to prove and finds her own way, a way that contributes to the good of the whole. In Iroquois creation stories, the three sisters, the corn, squash, and beans, are triplets. When the Sky Woman's daughter dies in childbirth, she instructs the survivors to cover her with earth and tells them that these plants will spring from her body. The corn arises from her breasts, the squash from her belly, and the bean vines sprout from her fingertips so that she can continue to feed her children. Walking past a Three Sisters garden, we might not even recognize it as farming at all. It would look like a hopeless tangle. Iroquois planting, you mix the seeds together of the corn, the squash, and the beans, and you put them together in a hill, and they just kind of grow up as they will. English colonists, accustomed to crops in segregated rows, immediately assumed that the natives were incapable of agriculture. They said this even while they were accepting gifts of clearly cultivated foods. An Iroquois garden patch could look like a cornfield overgrown with weeds, but a closer inspection would reveal corn stalks affectionately supporting bean vines, while squash plants guard the soil below. Their mixed multitude of leaves might strike us first as chaos, but actually they're very well organized. The corn plant is essentially a tall grass. Its leaves are long blades reaching upward. Squash leaves are low and broad, and bean leaves are these little green heart shapes. The shapes and sizes of these leaves are complementary. Together, they make the maximum use of the solar energy in the garden patch, while also shielding the ground from hard rain, which can cause soil erosion. The dense carpet of leaves also protects the garden from invasive species, making it nearly impossible for other plants to grow there. The cooperation of the Three Sisters below the ground is equally remarkable. Corn roots are shallow and wide to absorb the first rainfall. Bean roots then reach deeper into the soil to catch the water that seeps beyond the corn's reach. And squash, the wild sister, sends its adventurous stems outward from the others. As a special contribution, the roots of the bean, which are a legume, will sprout these little airtight nodules, like these little white balls, which are processing centers in which bacteria can convert atmospheric nitrogen into mineral fertilizer for the corn and the squash. I learned quite a bit about biology this week, which is just really fascinating to me. We're going to switch over from biology to mythology. That's my realm. Came across this Onondaga story. A fine young man lived on a small hill, and being there alone, he wished to marry. He had flowing robes and wore long and nodding plumes, so that he was very beautiful to behold. I'm going to just go ahead and give away the ending. In the story, the fine young man is a corn plant. And every morning and evening, he would sing. He would say it, someone I will marry. And he thought he cared not at all who it might be. For a long time, he kept this up every morning and night, and still he was very lonesome. At last, a tall woman came with long hair neatly braided behind. Her beads shone like drops of dew, and her flowing green mantle was adorned with large golden bells. The young man ceased to sing, and she said, I am the one for whom you have been looking so long, and I have come to marry you. But he looked at her and said, no. You wander so much from home and run all over the ground so fast that I cannot stay by your side. And so the pumpkin maiden went away, and the young man was still alone, but kept on singing morning and night, hoping his bride would come. One day there appeared a slender young woman of graceful form and fair of face. Her beautiful mantle was spotted here and there with lovely clusters of flowers, and groups of bangles hung upon it. She heard the song and drew near the singer. Then she said she could love dearly this one so manly, and would marry him if he would love her in return. The song ceased, and he looked at her and was well pleased, and said she was just the one for whom he had wished, and for whom he had waited so long. They met in a loving embrace, and ever since, the slender bean twines closely around the corn, he supporting her, and she cherishing him. The story ends with this note. Perhaps it might be added that they are not divided even in death, for beans make a part of Indian cornbread. Sometimes a story is told about the bean maiden's journey, how she's traveling around looking for a partner. And she's courted by numerous potential partners: a stag who promises to provide her with tree bark, a bear who offers to share his stash of nuts, and a wolf bringing gifts of venison. But none of these fit her needs. And finally, she meets her match in the corn man. And she says, for a long time, I have been lonely, for I desired to be in a position to mingle with humanity. I will share with you fortune and misfortune, whichever it be, wherever people shall have charge of your welfare and needs, for my grandmother has appointed me to care for them during the time that the earth shall endure. We must teach them our songs and dances so that people may express their gratitude when they gather in their harvests of corn and beans and squash. The bean vine in the story embraces the corn stalk, spiraling counterclockwise, which inspired the direction of all Haudenosaunee life dances. Stories in which the corn is male can at first seem inconsistent with corn being one of the three sisters. But the corn plant is actually two-spirit, simultaneously male and female. The biological word for this is monoecious, meaning a plant with flowers of both genders. The tassel at the top of the corn stalk is male, and the silky strands between the cob and the sheath are female pollen tubes. What we call corn silk is actually hundreds of tubes, each kernel. So if you can imagine one kernel of corn, and it has this long single strand of hair that comes all the way and comes out the top. Each kernel of corn must be individually fertilized. So it sends this long conduit upward to the tip of the husk to collect pollen from the tassels of neighboring plants. When we eat corn on the cob, the kernels are all siblings, but each one might have a different father. Well, that's biology. and it's always best not to look too closely at what the flowers are up to. But natives of the Americas figured this out and spent thousands of years selectively breeding corn plants that could grow in different climates, withstand various diseases, and produce diverse types of corn, some to be eaten immediately, some to be stored away, different corns for different foods. It was even a standard part of indigenous American warfare to grab a couple of corn stalks from a neighboring tribe's fields, fertilize your own plants, and see what kind of enhancements the next tribe over had been working on. Or you could wait till the war was over and throw a peace party and exchange plants then. As modern consumers, we reap the benefits of this long process of love and war and ingenuity. Most of our corn today comes from industrial monocropping, not from artisanal midwifery. Patriarchal corporate domination has forcefully supplanted sorority cooperation. But none of that would be possible without the indigenous women who gently and attentively nurtured our human relationships with these plants. Robin Wall Kimmerer, a modern native in Western New York, still tends a traditional patch of corn, squash, and beans. And she muses, perhaps we should consider this a Four Sisters garden, for the planter is also an essential partner. The service continues with a hymn, and I forgot to write down which one it is. No, here we go. Please stand if you are able for hymn 131. Thank you. Love will guide us.
Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard nights. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Well, I'm excited to announce that in about a half hour, we will continue our adult education exploration of Iroquois culture. And we'll take another look at food production and how it relates to the creation story of Western New York. Do we have any other announcements today?
I have one offstage announcement from Zoom World. we're glad to have Francie and Pam and Desi with us today. And they had a little trouble hearing us at certain points. And I just wanted to remind everybody who's in the auditorium that without a microphone, the people on Zoom just plain can't hear you. And so if you want to make an announcement, there's a microphone that's clamped down to the seat right up toward the front there. Slide the switch on it upward to turn it on. Speak directly into it. If you can see me, I'm kind of like, this is how you use the thing. Speak right into it to get a good loud sound. And then the folks out in Zoom country can hear us, because this seems to cause problems over and over, you know, that they can see the pictures of things happening, but can't hear them because the people involved aren't using microphones. So just a thought going forward. Thank you.
Together, we have sanctified this space. If you have found strength and comfort here, share some out there. They need it. Remember that you are blessed and you are a blessing and you are not alone.
Now the leafless landscape settles in repose, waiting for the quiet of the winter. Snow. I love snow. Oh,
I
right.
just,
Forgot.
There. Zoom folks are watching all this very carefully to make sure we.
I just adore Patty.
Yeah, I do too.
Good
I
seeing you,
didn't-
Dizzy.
I didn't hear Peter's announcement. What did?
Oh, they went to, I think, Cleveland.
Wait a minute, you're muted. You're
Sorry.
muted. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, they went to, I think, Mayo Clinic to see more options for Betsy's knees, and the conclusion was that they couldn't do anything. So they're looking at different options. So, I mean, that's what Pete is doing. He's, you know, there's still hope. We're looking at different
Live in
options.
the auditorium too, so you have a full house audience enjoying your.
Wow, we didn't know that.
All right, well, now I know what Peter said. Okay.
Thanks. Is it snowing in New York City?
Oh, no, we had 74-degree weather yesterday, and
Wow.
now it's in the 50s today. And rain. Well, no, the sun is just coming out now. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had cool weather in the 60s, and
Mm.
like, we're wearing scarves, you know, winter gear. in Southern
Today we're
California.
wearing scarves and hats.
Oh, cool. Huh.
Well, belated happy birthday. It was your birthday last week, right?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I heard I hit the big 8 mark. Wow. There's so many of us. I'm just so surprised and happy.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, hello to everybody else out there. I think everybody can hear our conversation now. So hello to everybody else out there.
Yes. Hello. Wish we could join you for coffee, but
Yeah.
Salute.
All right, I'm signing off. Ciao.
Me too.
Okay.
Just so you
Take
know,
care.
we're gonna come back on Zoom, when we do the RE thing. It'll be about, when is it? About 12:30 local time, I guess. So, if you want to join us, we'll be lit up then, and, you can come back in or whatever you want, you know.
How long does that last, that lecture?
Our break will be till 12:30 Eastern time, and then we'll probably reassemble and have our religious ed program. So if you want to join back in, you know, we'll have it up on Zoom, and please do, you know.
And what I'm asking is, once it resumes that lecture, how long does that last? From 12:30 to what?
Normally he goes around an hour, I would say, typically.
Okay. I'll see what I'm doing at that time. I'm usually out doing chores.
Here, and if you want to join in, great. Love to have you, and you know, whatever works for you, you know.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Have
Yeah.
a great.
Take care.
Yeah.
We'll sign off now. We'll be
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I like hearing John speak in his
Take care,
lectures. I'm going to my California UU church in a little while, so maybe I'll catch it after. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao.
Take care.